You look fabulous, like a glam diva.
Uh,
I love it. Robert, I have a name for you. I have a nickname for you. You already have a name. So your name, your
yeah.
title, you have a fabulous title. Robert Monegan, the award-winning machine.
Oh, okay.
How
Wow.
do you like
Thank you.
that?
That sounds
Well, what's up
great.
with all these awards? You just keep winning awards back to back. You write a film, you direct it in like a matter of seconds, and
Yeah,
then boom, you submit, and then you win. What is your
yeah,
secret?
yeah, and I'll tell you that on camera when we're doing the interview about that, because
No,
people
we are talking. We're doing the interview.
oh, we are
We
okay
are doing the
because
interview.
um yeah, that's funny because it it's a lot of great accolades and honors and recognition, which is what as an artist we all want. But at the end of the day, has it changed my lifestyle? No, I still gotta go to the grocery store tomorrow. I still have to do laundry later on today. So it's like, we all want that moment when we can say, "Oh, I've made it. I've arrived. I'm here. Oh, I forgot. I got to go pick up my dry cleaning tomorrow." It's you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
nice, but it definitely has not changed my lifestyle at all. I still have to pick up my husband's prescription at CVS. It
How does
so
Let me ask you this then. So you have been recognized for best director, best screen play writer.
mhm.
How does this recognition and this award shape the next project, the following projects that you write, that you decide to create? Does that ever influence that?
It sometimes, but for the most part, I just don't want to repeat myself in the sense that, okay, I did that film. Yes. Okay. I don't want to do part two. I want to do something completely different. I have a style. I believe we all have a style, but I don't want to be like, oh, this is just like the last thing he did. Oh, I don't want to hear that. So I got Best Director. That came as a big surprise because that awards ceremony, I get there that night. I don't even know what I'm nominated for. All I was told was I was nominated for something. So I'm getting there. I'm already like, okay, well, is it for the film? Is it? I don't know. And then they called my name. I'm like, Best Director? Okay. I didn't have an acceptance speech made or anything. I just went up there and just went, thank you. I need a drink,
I
and
love it.
that's it. But yeah, but in answer to your question, no, it doesn't influence me that much because I just want to just make sure I'm doing something completely different than what I did before. So I hope that answers the question.
But you have a different style too. Your style, it feels like, well, based on what I already know, and forgive me if my knowledge of your work is limited, but based on what I already know, you use art and your point of view in order to create your films,
Hmm.
to push boundaries, to break through societal norms. Is that true? Is that accurate observation?
Yeah, but I don't want to come off like I'm preaching because nobody likes preaching, especially in this day and age. Um,
But you have a message to
yeah,
convey,
I have
right?
a message, and that goes all the way back to a poem I wrote when I was 6 years old that got into the local newspaper and won a grand prize. I wish I had it it's in a box somewhere, but it was called How Colors Make Me Feel. And I went down on different colors, like red makes me feel like this, orange makes me feel like this, blue, whatever, whatever. And I wrote it like as I was in like third grade or whatever. And the teacher liked it, and then my mom liked it, my dad liked it, and so they entered it into a local kid art contest thing in my
Okay.
in my town. I didn't think any more about it, but it won first prize, and I got like a $50 check, which as a kid, $50 is like a lot of money. And then my name is in the newspaper and all that kind of stuff because of this poem, How Colors Make Me Feel. And I never forgot that, in the sense that I'm still playing with colors. I still playing with visuals. Everything, I mean, I'm an artist. I'm self-taught. I taught myself how to draw and everything, and I'm still playing with images. And so I guess in my films, I want to convey that same thing. It's all about the visual.
Yeah,
'Cause if you're looking at something and it doesn't appeal to you, then you're gonna turn off the channel or walk out of the theater.
exactly.
So I
Tell me
want
about tell
to,
me about self-teaching drawing and glam divas.
yeah. I was 4 years old when I realized I could draw. I was obsessed with the old cartoons from the 60s. I mean, I'm a kid of the 1970s, but I loved the Flintstones and Charlie Brown, and whenever they were on TV, I wanted to bring those images of those characters into my world. And so what I would do, I took a piece of copy paper and I put it up against the TV screen, and I got a pencil and I started tracing the characters. Now, mind you, they're moving on the screen, but I memorized the strokes
Wow.
of Fred Flintstone's hairline and Charlie Brown and Snoopy. And then when I took the paper down, I remembered how to do it. And so that's how I taught myself how to draw at 4. I've never taken a lesson to this day, and I never will. And so from there, I just practiced. I started drawing other different things. I've always loved glamorous women. You know, I grew up watching all these old TV shows like That Girl and the Mary Tyler Moore Show and Charlie's Angels and all that kind of stuff. And so I wanted my own glamour. So I created Glam Divas, and, you know, the
And
rest.
the rest is history.
Yeah.
Glam divas have been showcased theatrically and in galleries as well.
Yes. It started out just as little comics, but then I started getting more and more drag queens saying, "Oh my God, that looks like me when I'm in drag," or whatever. Okay, maybe I should do a theatrical presentation, because I never wanted to do a traditional, well, I've done a traditional art gallery exhibit where everybody goes there just to eat up the wine and the cheese. They buy nothing and they leave. So I said, I don't want to do that. And they buy none of the art. So I said, okay, I want to present my art in a theatrical way, but you have to pay attention to the art because it's being presented to you on stage by bringing these characters and the art to life, literally.
Mhm.
And then you can have the wine and cheese after you buy something.
Inspired.
So, yeah. And so that's how I did it, where I said, okay, these characters, I had a lot of drag friends who said, okay, I can create these outfits that you're drawing, and we can like bring the characters to life on stage. And I'm like, okay, so glam divas is like, glamorous women with hunky guys and, tight pants and muscles or whatever. And so it's like, okay, we'll do a theatrical presentation of it. And so that's how the glam diva thing came out. I did a short film, which is long since forgotten, but I want to rework it and do it differently now, because the original film had women as the glam divas, which is fine, but it didn't have that same campiness that I was trying to convey with the whole tongue-in-cheek humor. So drag queens were like, we should do the glam divas and da da da. So I rewrote the script, and I'll probably shoot it again someday. You know,
Really?
yeah,
Just can't wait to see it.
yeah.
How does your work with glam divas influence your art in filmmaking and directing and writing? Are
Very,
they
yeah.
interconnected? Are they separate?
Uh, it's connected because again, it's all about visual, and I'm a visual person. Everything, even setting up for this interview. Okay, are the pillows straight? Are the lighting right? I mean, I'm always doing that. I drive my husband crazy because he's like, "What are you doing? You're just doing a you know." But I want everything to look like a portrait. So when I draw, I want it to look like a portrait. When I make a film, I'm framing every single frame. Even when we did our film together, The Case of the Missing Heiress, I'm looking at everything through a frame. And I would show our buddy Patrick McAndrew, okay, how does this look? Okay, Shada's standing right there. Do you want her to move in a little bit more? I want her. I'm always thinking that.
Now that you brought that up, everybody, I will highly encourage you go see that film. This was an amazing experience for me. That was actually the first time that we met,
Yes.
obviously, and I was super impressed. You okay? So I will get to the directing point, but
Yeah.
we were in a filming studio,
Mm-hmm.
like empty room. I
Right.
brought my wardrobe,
Yeah.
and everybody brought their wardrobe, and then you turn the empty corner into this such beautiful with, I mean,
With very little props.
little, like you like, give me your shawl, the
Yeah.
shawl that I was
Yeah.
gonna wear.
Yeah.
Give me a shawl, I want to use that. And you used all the props, very limited, like you said, that we had, and you turned this corner into this beautiful historic corner that if you see in the movie,
Hmm.
you will not believe that this was not there and it was just made just like that.
I love doing that. I mean, I used to dress windows in department stores, so it's again visuals. With with what little material that I have, I try to make it into something because we couldn't go out and buy anything, and we're on a limited time. So, and Patrick was like, "What can we do with this?" And so I'm like, okay, well, we have that chair over there, this old table, we can throw a drape or something on a piece of cloth to make it look something more glamorous than what it really is. I've been doing that since I was a kid. You know, my parents would go out grocery shopping, and by the time they came home, I redecorated the whole living room. And they're like, what did you do? I've always been like that.
Yeah, I've always been. Did you always want to be a director when you were?
No, when I was a kid, I thought I when I was a kid, I wanted to be a movie star. I wanted to go to Hollywood and be an actor, but yet I was always directing people because my cousins, I'm an only child, but my cousins, they would come over for sleepovers when we were kids, and I would always make them do talent shows, and I would direct them and go, okay, no, you have to do it this way. You know, do some dancing, sing it, and they're all like looking at me like, okay, you know, and I'm always directing them. So I was doing that since I was a kid. So I guess in
You had it
hindsight, yeah,
in you.
yeah, it was just always in me.
You had it in you. Tell me about the acting part. We get back to the directing again. How was your journey like? Because you wanted to pursue acting. You went to LA, correct?
Right.
So
Um,
how was that experience? How did
so,
everything begin?
uh, horrible. uh, let's see. I was in my late 20s. I dropped out of college. I was doing some plays, and I thought I'm better than this. I want to go to Hollywood and be the, you know, da, 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 da. So one of those things where I packed up my stuff in my car, drove to Los Angeles, moved in with my cousin, and started hitting the pavement with auditions. And back in those days, this was like the mid 1990s.
Hmm.
I would carry my portfolio with me with my pictures and everything to go to casting calls, whatever. And I would get in there and nobody looked like me. Everybody was blonde and blue-eyed and, looked like James Dean or Marilyn Monroe or whatever. And you didn't see anybody. I had hair back then, but, nobody that really looked like me. And I remember this one casting thing I went to. I all dressed up. I spent like my entire paycheck because I was working at a department store. I bought a brand new suit, and I went into a casting call, and the receptionist for the casting agency, who usually the receptionists are burned out, used to be, never was actors that now work for somebody else, and they're bitter, so they want to piss on everybody else's dream. She's sitting there, and she snatches my headshot and my resume, flips it over, looks at it, looks at me, and goes, "You want to act?" Being the smart mouth that I am, I said, "Yeah, doesn't everybody?" And she goes, "You can have a seat over there. What's your name?" Now she's holding my resume with my name on it. And she asked me, "What's my name?" I go, "It's Elvis." And she goes, "Okay, Elvis, you can have a seat over there." And I'm like, ugh. But I soon realized that for me, the acting journey, I was just always doing background stuff.
Yeah.
I was, dancing in a music video or walking by in a scene in a soap opera. I'm like, this isn't acting. This is being part of a herd of cattle. So there's got to be something better than this. So, it,
And
so then
therefore,
I was working at a hotel in Beverly Hills one night, and a guy from New York comes in to check in, and we start talking about this, that, whatever. And he looks at me and he goes, "You remind me of a New Yorker. If you ever want to give New York a try, I have an extra couch in my apartment." Now, that wasn't a come on, it wasn't a pickup. It was like he just saw it was Shada, it was like someone took a bucket of water and threw it on me, and I woke up for the first time. I was like, I'm moving to New York. And I quit my job at the hotel. I broke up with my boyfriend at the time. My parents thought I had completely lost my mind. I packed up one suitcase. I had only $800 cash in my pocket. I jumped on a plane, one way, not round trip, and came to New York, and I never looked back.
love it.
And that was 26 years ago.
I love it. This is priceless. What were you thinking in your mind? What were you thinking
I,
taking
rem-
taking
I,
that like bold move and leap of faith?
um, I
Were
just,
you afraid at all?
no, there was a split second before I got off the plane in New York when I thought, oh my God, what am I doing? But then once I got outside the airport at JFK and I felt that bite of freezing cold weather, which I had never felt before because it was in the it was in the end of January and it was like 20 degrees outside. I'd never felt 20 degrees weather before. And I had on a little lightweight sort of pea coat and everything, no scarf, no hat or anything. And then I woke up. It was like, okay, you have to keep moving, otherwise you're going to freeze to death and die. So now is not the time to be afraid. Just keep going. And that's what I've been driving on ever since.
Yes.
That first bite of cold weather. And then going to this guy's house thinking he could be a psycho. He could be, but he wasn't. He was a really sweet guy. And he let me stay in his couch. He said I could stay for 2 weeks. I wound up staying for 3 days because my second day I found another living situation which was better for me in a little old lady's house over on Central Park, which is ironic because she lived over on Central Park North. I now live on Central Park West. So just around the corner. But, 26 years later.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How did you overcome, because moving, okay, so I have moved a lot in my life too.
Mm.
Like you pack and go. Let's just go.
Yeah, just go.
And not even planning or nothing. It just decide it's time for a change. Let's just change, move.
Mhm.
So you have this mentality. You have the mentality of just do it. Don't waste time. Get it done. You
Yeah.
have this is what's running your engine, right? That
Yes, that's
ignites your
right.
engine.
I admit it. Yes.
So, but at the beginning, when you move, you don't, it's unknown, right? You don't know anything. This is a new place. This is a new environment. It's beyond my comfort zone. I haven't lived in this kind of environment
Right.
before. So how did you overcome challenges as they presented themselves throughout your journey of becoming
Yeah,
like,
for moving to New York, I looked for some reason, my thinking was nobody knows me here, so I can be anybody I want to be. I don't have to prove myself. They don't know my history or anything. So I was running on that, which worked for me because the minute I got off the plane and got to the guy's house, whatever, I didn't have to say, "Oh, well, I used to do this, da 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 da." Because see, the thing about New York and California, which is still true to this day, in California, especially in Los Angeles, the big question is, who do you know? In New York is, what do you know? That's the difference.
yes.
And so it was like, oh, this is Robert. He's an artist, he's an actor, but oh, okay, what do you do? Not, oh, well, who do you know? And so I feel like I could be anybody because I can prove myself. They're giving me an option to like say, you're an actor? Okay, act. What can you do? Not, oh, well, do you have a famous agent or do you know famous people that can get you into the door or whatever? They don't care about that. It's still like that for me.
New
I just
York is like
more,
that,
yeah, I can prove myself by just being myself. And say I come in with a clean slate. I'm in a new city. Nobody knows me here. I can do anything I want to do. But whereas when I moved to LA, it was like, oh, you want to be an actor? Okay, well, have you have any credits? Do you know an agent? Do you know? Blah, 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 blah. And I didn't get very far because I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Listen, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. How do you come up with this ideas for your films? Because you just decide, you see something and you go, oh, I can see potential in this.
Hmm.
And then you make the bold and fearless action of, I'm going to write. And then you write, and then boom, you cast. And then next thing you know, you're shooting. And then next thing you know, you're winning awards for it. So tell me,
It sounds easier when you say it.
it's how you operate, isn't it? So tell me first what truly inspires you and what really captures your eye in terms of movie subjects.
Hmm.
And then how's the process of writing for that subject?
I see something that I can't take my eyes off of, be it a person or a thing or whatever, and then I'm the type that I don't I won't let it go until I do what I want with it. Um, and in the case of film, I did a film called The Eyes of the World
Mm.
back in 2018. My God, 2018. We shot it in 2019 though. Um, I was in this. I was the stage manager for this musical, which shall be nameless because it was a horrible musical. But what was cool about it, it was performing at Carnegie Hall.
Ooh.
So I was like, that's why I want to be in it, just to have that Carnegie Hall credit. Um, the night of the first rehearsal, I'm there for all of 4 minutes and I'm ready to pack it in and leave and go, you know what? This thing is so unorganized. I'm out. I get my coat. I'm getting ready to leave. This really attractive guy comes up to me with a big smile and a beautiful face and looks like he's Prince Charming from a Walt Disney movie and goes, "Hi, my name is Patrick. You must be our stage manager."
Oh no.
And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, he's cute. I'll stay."
That's how you met Patrick.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, I'm delighted. I have actually I interviewed Patrick before,
Yes.
so materials on the channel.
Patrick was the reason why I stayed in that musical. Had I not had stayed in that musical, the next rehearsal, I would not have been suddenly taken aback by this one guy who was in the very back of the chorus, who never opened his mouth, but he had these amazing big dark eyes, and our eyes locked, and I kept staring at him. He kept staring at me, and I was like, oh, those I've never seen eyes that dark before. I get home from rehearsal that night. I'm scrolling through my social media. Turns out he and I are connected on Facebook through mutual people, and I recognize those eyes. But he has facial hair, and I was like, and so I type and go, "Are you the guy that was at rehearsal?" Blah, 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 blah. He goes, "Yeah, you look familiar too. I thought that was you." Then when I saw him again, I was just amazed by his eyes, and I was so taken by his eyes. I suddenly thought, God, he reminds me of like something from like the 1920s, so Hollywood stars like Rudolph Valentino and Charlie Chaplin and all that. And then I started thinking, God, it'd be kind of cool to do a movie about 1920s Hollywood, about a guy with these amazing eyes. And that's how The Eyes of the World was created, because I started typing a script. I tailored it for this guy with his eyes, made him the feature in the movie. He plays the title character in The Eyes of the World. I also cast our buddy Patrick in it, who plays another leading character in it. And it just happened. That was my inspiration. But had I not had stayed in that musical where I first met Patrick, there never would have been that movie.
Wow, wow,
You know,
synchronicity, right?
yeah. So
So that was actually my next question. I wanted to ask how you cast the people for your plays and your films, and find your team actually to create all these masterpieces.
I if I work with people in the past, I I want to like work with them again, especially if it's like a good relationship in the sense like, okay, you know what I want, I know what you want, this and that, whatever. And once I did the Eyes of the World, and I had pulled people, actually, I cast everybody that was in that. I cast actors that were in that musical where I met Patrick, because I wanted to work with these people again. And then I pulled crew people like, oh, I need a DP, I need an editor, I need and so then and a photographer. Dan Lane Williams is the best photographer out there, and I met him on the set of The Eyes of the World. Dan has been taking pictures. Dan is taking more pictures of me than anybody else in my life now. All the pictures you've seen of me on social media or from my films, Dan Lane Williams has taken those pictures. And so, and I just want to work with the same people. So it's like, okay. And then after when I worked with you in the case of The Missing Heirs, it's like, well, I definitely want to work with Sheida again. And so as I'm preparing my next film that you know about, I want you to be a part of it.
Or
So
be allowed to tell.
I can tell you the title. It's called Boom. And it's about a doctor who's going to be played by Patrick McAndrew, who moves to a small town and discovers the town's deep, dark secret. And that's all you're going to know for now. And Jada is going to be playing one of the characters in it.
I'm delighted. I'm very excited. I cannot wait. So that's yes. So we're not gonna say more.
Yeah.
Okay. Stay tuned for, for
Yeah.
next.
I'll be in part two.
Yes.